Good afternoon. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Honor and I work with Nick and with Ollie on equity research, as well as being responsible for thinking about how Reddington integrate ESG into our manager research, our client reporting, and into our strategic asset allocation advice. So when I'm talking to many of you in this room, I often get asked the question, what's the current Reddington client sentiment about ESG? How are Reddington working with clients in this area? So I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes on an update for those two. So most of you will be really aware of the main drivers for institutional investors considering ESG. Historically, it was really clients who had either a moral or an ethical standpoint, and that was often related then to a reputational risk. So I think the church or the Environment Agency pension fund. But increasingly, we have clients who don't have that moral or ethical context, who are accepting that ESG factors can have a really financially material impact on their portfolio. The third driver is regulation, and we saw the guidance from the pensions regulator this year kind of really step up a notch, as well as the recommendations from the Financial Stability Board's task force on climate-related financial disclosure, and we think that recommendation is a clear sign of the direction of travel. We already know a couple of pension schemes who've reported in line with the TCFD, and we think that's something that we're really going to be talking to more clients about in the new year. So there's real strengthening across all three of those drivers, and as those drivers strengthen, we see more and more pension schemes who are concerned and they want their investment consultants and their asset managers to be really on top of this, to be able to advise them and tell them how they're thinking about ESG issues, how ESG issues affect their portfolio. And so that's that. I mean, there's a real increase in awareness about ESG. Increased awareness is a great thing, but there's often a gap between that and understanding what the clear actions you might be able to take are. So we've worked with the HSBC pension scheme, and we've also had conversations with other market leaders such as the Environment Agency pension fund, and that's helped us to distill a couple of key areas that we're working with our clients on. The first of those is developing responsible investment as an embedded part of your trustee investment principles, and making sure that that's really well developed and it can inform your investment strategy. Then once you have those responsible investment principles kind of written down and logged, how do you monitor progress there? And making sure it's not just a couple of sentences that were written down, you come back 2-3 years later and wonder what happened. The third kind of area that we've been working with our clients on is looking across the asset classes in their portfolio and asking where are there asset classes where your fund manager can really make a difference by integrating ESG factors, by engaging on the ESG issues, and where are they able to report on the ESG factors. That kind of exercise is really helping our clients to focus in on the easy wins rather than trying to wait for a 100% perfect solution before they take any action. And I probably should mention as well, as Nick touched on earlier, ESG is a really big focus in our manager selection. It's a key one of our 10 factors, and that's across all asset classes. So we've been making a big attempt to move away from an active fundamental equity framework and say, well, how does ESG impact each of the asset classes that we research? And then I wanted to share with you here, this is a quick survey that we did this summer, and we went out and we asked asset managers on the funds for whom we have a shared client relationship and quarterly monitoring responsibilities, is there ESG reporting on the fund? For 45% of the funds, the answer was no, perhaps not applicable to this fund, and there's no intention to produce reporting in the near future. For 35%, the response was that there is no reporting currently, but it's something that might happen. Let's have a conversation about it, see what we can do. 12% of the funds had an ESG annual report, and only 8% currently had a quarterly report. So really the upshot of that was we thought to improve our reporting to clients, and we had to go away and we've reviewed the universe of ESG data providers, and we're going to be working with MSCI as our data provider from this month going forwards. And we're very aware that the data isn't perfect, so there won't be any hard lines or screening based on this data, but what we believe it's going to help us to do is ask better questions during our manager research process, and also drive more conversation with clients through introducing ESG into our quarterly manager reports as a standard metric. Great, so that's all from me, but really in summary, what I wanted to get across is that we believe it's very important that everyone in our manager research team and in our client-facing consulting teams understands ESG, how ESG factors impact clients, and that's delivered as an integral part of our work with our clients. And we're doing that through integrating ESG as one of our 10 selection factors, through driving awareness with our clients of what ESG means for them, and where appropriate, working with them on their investment principles. And finally, this increased focus on reporting and improving our reporting. But thanks very much.